Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Secret World Society. A week ago, we found a door that shouldn't exist, and today, we are going back. How are you all feeling?
I don't know. I still think something is up. Like, there's no way that can be real. It's gotta be a trick. I don't know how, but it's a trick.
Really, Ani? After everything last week?
I get it, but we don't know. Like, it could have been a weird fever dream or hallucination. There's a whole concept of something called folie à deux.
Come on, you're a medical student. Do you really think that could happen?
It has before.
Anyways, we have the opportunity to explore a new world once again, and there's really no reason not to. Let's check attendance. Ani, you're obviously here.
Yeah, I'm here. Oh my gosh. Look! An existence!
Catalina?
I'm here! I'm so excited to see all this again.
Mars?
Present and armed with snacks.
Good thinking. Looks like we're all here.
Hey, Lyrlin? I had an idea. Last week we were pretty unsure about what was happening and where. Well, I may have brought a tape recorder with me.
What? Catalina, this is a secret club. You can't just...
No. Hear me out. This is all amazing data, and no one will believe us if we don't have recordings. We literally have a secret dimension where we can hide and protect them from prying eyes. But now we also have proof.
Ooh, good idea, Catalina.
Except that we don't have video feed, so there's no proof.
Well, no, but it's still a major step. I'd rather have it than not, and we can keep it as a form of club archive. We literally are visiting a library. It would be good to have this written down somewhere.
Okay, I see your point. Fine, you can use it. Wait, have you been recording us this whole time?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, fine. Here, just hand it over. I want to record something first. Week 2 of our excursion to the Wanderer's Library. Our first opportunity at adventure, discovery, and uncovering some real secrets. This is Lyrlin, your host and guide of the club, checking in. Alright, that should work for categorizing.
Okay, except it's 3 minutes into the recording.
Okay, it's like only 2 minutes, but we'll do it earlier next time. Anyways, are you all ready to head in? The archive awaits.
Just pull the shelf and we can go through, right?
Exactly. Have you all brought supplies?
I brought trail mix.
Perfect. We're ready. Deep breath, everyone. Today, we go back to the other side. How I've missed that smell. Welcome to the library, everyone. Are you all here?
Okay, we are back. Usually hallucinations aren't the same twice, necessarily.
Mars and I are here.
Snacks are here too.
Perfect. All right, game plan. We need to map out this place, get an idea of exactly what is going on, how it's laid out, what it has, and what we can do. I propose we split into groups of 2. I can go with Mars, and Ani, you can go with Catalina. Hold on. I brought some mapping paper from the cartography club.
I can't believe I'm skipping my physics study group to go play Explorer in a big-ass library.
Come on, Ani. Last time we found a nearly infinite library with sentient, multi-armed things and lantern hands. That has to be a win.
Yeah, and what if this time it's, I don't know, books that scream at us?
I already have one of those. It's called my calculus textbook. I mostly scream at it.
Regardless, getting an idea of this place should be our biggest goal right now. Let's spread out. Meet back here in an hour.
I still can't believe how awesome this all is. There's books as far as the eye can see. Harvard has nothing on this.
I don't know. Something feels off.
But look around. I join a school club for one night and I get whisked away to another dimension? This is to be the most amazing thing to ever happen to me. You wanted to skip this for studying? Hell, I'd rather drop school entirely if it meant getting to explore this place for even a little bit longer.
Catalina, focus. Don't you notice that things are different? Like, the lights are dimmer, and honestly, they're kind of flickering.
Huh? You're right. Actually, now that I think about it, wasn't this the fiction section last time? These books don't seem the same.
Yeah, and now it's... What even is this? Architecture designed for non-Euclidean spaces? And this shelf looks curved?
It's almost like the library shifted itself since we were last here. Do you think something happened?
Maybe?
Or it could be responding to something. Maybe us? Like it's trying to direct us to learn something?
I mean, let's not get too metaphysical here. We still haven't even mapped out where we are.
I mean, if the shelves are moving, how could we? I think we're supposed to feel lost. It doesn't feel bad, just different.
Let's just keep moving.
Log entry number 2. 30 minutes into mapping the Wanderer's Library. No screaming books yet, but Mars did try to befriend a ladder with teeth. More info forthcoming.
Look, the ladder seemed friendly.
What about teeth seems friendly?
It can smile. Duh.
If we get hurt here, I'm not filing an incident report.
Fine. But I'm giving the trail mix a name. That way, if a ladder does eat us, someone can list us and the snacks as casualties.
I suggest not naming the snacks. The library listens and it always remembers.
Wait, is that... Rowan! You're here! It's so good to see you!
It's good to see you too. I've missed you all. The library hasn't been the same. Though, I thought you were going to be back in a week. It's only been 3 hours.
3 hours?
Oh, time is all loopy when we go through the door. We spent a few hours here last week and it was only 10 minutes back home.
Interesting. In my world, time flows exactly like it does here. 1 minute here, 1 minute there.
That's oddly convenient.
Yeah, compared to our world where it's basically jet lag, but weirder.
Exactly. Regardless, it makes sense that if you were in your world for a week, it was only 3 hours here.
Wait, shouldn't that be the other way around? A week at home would be years here?
Nope.
Okay. What is your dimension anyways? You never told us.
Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
Got it.
Anyways, I bet you've noticed things are a bit different since last week. Lights are dimmer, things are quieter.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a ghost house.
Exactly. Some stuff has happened since you were last here. I got a report for you. Maybe you could tell it to your club.
Not a bad idea. Alright, let's head back to the door and meet with everyone. They should be there soon. Oh, there you are. I was starting to think the shelves had swallowed you both.
Honestly, I'm not sure they didn't.
Everything moved. It wasn't like it was last time.
And did you guys know the ladders have teeth now?
They... What now?
Long story. But you'll be glad to know that we ran into Rowan.
Rowan! Oh wow, hi!
Nice to see you again.
They brought us something. A report. One that might start to explain all the weirdness.
Oh no.
Oh yes, and it's story time.
Lyrilin's favorite time.
This one is a little long though. Rowan, would you like to tag team it?
Sure, you begin.
On a day a few decades ago, a group of mundane mortals mistakenly thought that they could categorize the concept of knowledge. They could contain the nexus of worlds, that the foundation could lock up the Platonic concept of a library. It was a learning experience, at least. On that day, a doctor pored over notes and maps, looking out the window of the temporary base of operations that had been set up for the incursion. Not an invasion, and not an assault, an incursion. That's the phrasing the doctor preferred. Ideally, it'd be more or less a scouting mission, something to gauge the relative scale of the library. 3 groups coming from 3 separate points. Triangles were meaningful shapes, right? The researchers weren't sure if they were or not. They weren't entirely sure of any of this, as a matter of fact. Of course, only the very top of the command chain knew that. Everyone else was told that there were measured risks involved. It wasn't exactly a lie, just a stretching of the truth. Everybody took their stations, 3 entrances and 3 doorways in 3 small towns, each in contact with each other, each planned to the minute.
The library was, as it always is. I would say it was a day like any other, if there were proper days in the library. Or, at least, across the entire library. Sometimes night is necessary.
Well, that's not creepy at all.
I don't think it's supposed to be comforting.
The library bustled as it always did. Sweeping, grand shelves stretching for miles, stocked with the knowledge of eternity. Some towered higher than the sky, others were barely a footstool's height. Every so often, one might stumble across a small clearing, filled with couches or tables or whatever else the library's visitors brought from elsewhere. Speaking of which, at any given time, beings from across time and space were scattered across the stacks, each unique but also not. An unfortunate alchemist, a skittish goblin, a peculiar cat, a soulless shapeshifter, an actual alien, a literal deer, a blindfolded witch, so many lives meeting in the nexus of knowledge. Throughout the library stood doors, each unique in itself, and each a literal door to innumerable ways. Each way had its own knock, and each knock was unique in itself. Nothing was repeated in the library, except when it was. There was one corner of the library, like most others, a clearing with a few tables and desks whose origins spanned across hundreds of years. This one was many of sitting spaces, and normally wouldn't be of special note to the library. That is, until the moment a certain door opened. There was a harsh, fast knock on a tall wooden door set between 2 shelves. It looked as if it could be set in a farmhouse or an old church, dusty and worn and heavy. Heavy wood. It creaked a bit before a heavy boot kicked it open, and 3 dozen black cad agents of Red Team swarmed in, weapons raised. 700 feet away, another door burst open, much the same with the Blue Team's entrance, and 300 feet from that one, another door with the Green Team's entry. A single shot was fired, and screams began to ring out.
A field commander shouted as the door slammed shut. The doctor called over the intercom, demanding somebody retry the knock. In a moment, the door opened again, and it opened to a different expanse of shelves. Agents rushed in. Unfortunately, this was a different way, and this corner of the library was restricted. An unfamiliar human voice began to wail as the door slammed shut again.
In moments, the library was in chaos. The shot was taken by a newer agent, nobody's quite sure who exactly, it happened so quickly, who got spooked and fired at something. The moment the shot struck a shelf, the library exploded into motion. There was a palpable shift in the air as the library came to life. The group huddled close together, tranquilizers and proper shots flying in focus bursts. A small black cat vanished into thin air the moment she was noticed, and a woman that looked almost like a schoolteacher dove behind a Chesterfield. A man wearing a long coat drew his own pistol before being gunned down by the agents, his body falling limp and bloodless on the marble floor. In the distance, more screams rang out. Agents shouted to one another, realizing the door behind them was gone. Someone authoritative called for them to find the others and regroup, and they started off into the maze of shelves. Then, the librarians came.
The agents were scattered, gunfire and dozens upon dozens of voices screaming and calling out among the stacks. Occasionally, gunfire rang out and was swiftly silenced. One of the red navigators was in a panic, desperately trying to reopen the shut door. Several other agents huddled close, ready to lay down suppressing fire if anything else happened. He didn't care. He just needed the damned way to open. There was a click, and finally, it swung open. The others looked back as he fell through into a hall of words, his voice perfectly silenced as the old gray light poured into the library like fumes. After several moments, an unfamiliar arm reached back out, closing the door behind him.
They repeated the knock over and over, each time afterwards opening it to a different place. A nearly solid wall of flame, an impossibly cold desert, an abandoned apartment covered in fungus, everything seemed lost. The doctor called his superiors. They would be unhappy, but unsurprised.
Researchers at each entry point struggled to stay on the same page, each racking their brains trying to figure out a way to salvage the day. The doors refused to work properly, the agents were divided, the commanders were silent, the phones were busy. It was a nightmare. Back in the Project HQ, the doctor hung up the phone, expression grim and sick.
Almost a lifetime away, an agent from Blue was in panic, crouched behind a bookcase in a ratty old armchair. She peeked out to see a tall, mouthless figure practically appear out of thin air among her colleagues. It swung a heavy brass lantern with an eerily silent grace, taking another agent's head clean off. It was unfazed by the gunfire, silently neutralizing the threat posed to the library, like a white blood cell would neutralize a germ. The cowering agent squeezed her eyes shut, the sound of carnage and gunfire ringing in her ears for a further 8 seconds, before suddenly stopping. Trembling, she opened her eyes. The library before her was immaculate. The MFT and everything else they brought were gone. Standing several feet before her was the figure, mouthless, a lantern hanging from its hand, or rather, the lantern hung from one arm. It silently stood before her, holding its hand out. The agent took it and was gone.
The door was shut tightly again. Agents and researchers shouted amongst themselves, trying to figure out what happened. Minutes passed before the way burst open on its own, a small group of agents stumbling out. They scrambled and shouted, confused, ragged, hurt. It seemed like they had been gone for days. Before anybody could react, one screamed, dragged back into the door before it slammed one last time, the old, grimy handle falling off.
Elsewhere, Green Group was completely fragmented. One splinter made the attempt to move out and try and find the other doors. It started with about 20 agents, then about 16, 11, 10, 8, 5, 3. Then, there was only one agent left. He began to run, the stacks growing taller, the air growing heavier, the lights dimmer. It began to feel almost haunted, but not. It was the kind of feeling that you get when you know a place was once beloved, but has been silent for far too long. He turned a corner, finding himself amongst towering shelves that stretched far taller than anything he had ever seen, with books filled with forgotten stories. Lost, he saw a towering figure atop a shelf, a regal beast with a man's face, looking down with bored curiosity. The beast smiled when the agent laid eyes upon it, eyes filled with thirst and a twisted delight. The agent turned to run, and ran headlong into a tall, crowned creature with a smile carved into its face. He began to weep, collapsing against the books, terrified and doomed. Somebody who couldn't be recognized said words of comfort to the lost agent, who realized he had made a terrible mistake. The other strange figures watched as the librarian climbed down, watching politely as the agent tried to gather himself. In a moment, the crowned thing scooped up the agent like a baby and leaned up, handing him off to the librarian.
A pair of agents ran, brothers chased by shapes and movement that they didn't dare look at directly. They turned a corner, the first agent bowling over a frightened child with iridescent eyes, the other jumping over to where they never really considered. They just needed to escape. They ran for a long time, longer than they realized. Eventually, they realized that the books were all gone, and the world around them had changed. Light played above them, and they looked up to see a vast thing. Like a titanic pillar on squat legs, a cage filled with innumerable lanterns placed atop its head. Branches like antlers strung with more light stretched from the cage, twinkling like a tree filled with stars. The living thing's many arms reached throughout the hall, the scraping of quills on paper filling the brothers' ears. It looked down at them, and they fled.
In the end, nobody knew what happened. Like in everything else, every single person who was part of the incursion had a different story. Some seemed similar until one read into the subtitles. Others had entirely unique experiences that no one else shared. Most contradicted the others. Recordings of that day only helped muddy the waters further. Some showed chaotic images and sounds of alien worlds. Others involved people who had not even been on the trip. That is, if they went on the op at all, or had even been born yet. Some of those involved had vivid recollections of the rest of their lives. Some remembered nothing but entering and exiting the doors. It was like time skipped over them when they went through the way. The most peculiar thing happened 13 days later. A group stumbled through Blue Team's door, dressed in the tatters of their equipment, their hair graying and their bodies scarred and decrepit. They claimed to have been trapped in the library for decades and were only just able to leave. They each told fantastic stories of their own, of giants who stoked fires, of fantastic lost countries, of black dogs, of breathing ideas, of things they had no words to describe. Many still remain, lost souls who broke the rules. They must be punished for their transgressions. And they will, just as countless others have been punished before them, and countless more will after. It's a learning experience.
And that's the story. Or a story, at least.
Remind me to never open mysterious doors, please.
So, you're telling me that things can go wrong here?
The library is like that. It doesn't care if you're ready. It cares that you're here to learn and that you respect the rules. That's it.
So, same time next week?
Okay, are you insane?
Look, we're not here to destroy things, and we're not here to hurt people. We want to learn, and that's what the library wants, right?
Llewellyn is right. The library doesn't want conflict. It wants people to follow the rules and learn. You will all be fine unless you start burning things down and killing people.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'll admit, I am starting to get curious about all this.
Perfect. And that's the result from our second week of exploring the Wanderer's Library. This is Llewellyn, the voice of this audio log, signing off. Catalina, thanks so much for bringing this recorder. It's actually turned out to be super useful.
No problem. I thought you'd like it.
Rowan, we'll see you in a week.
Don't you mean 3 hours?
Right. Rowan, we will see you in 3 hours. All right, team? Let's go. And that's it for today's episode. So I want to thank you all so much for listening today and to take a chance to do some proper credits. So first, I'd like to thank CHSR, the radio station based out of Fredericton, New Brunswick that hosts this show live. You can find out more about them on chsrfm.ca or listen to us live there every Tuesday, though I can't happen to remember the times right now. So sorry. I would also like to give a shout out to the various voice actors you heard in this episode. In particular, I'd like to thank Kit, who played the role of Ani, Esme, who played the role of Catalina, Moss, who played the role of Mars, and Peach, who played the role of Rowan. I'd also like to shout out the musical artist who you heard throughout the duration of this episode, including right now. It's Kevin MacLeod with his song Shadowlands, and hold on, I have to check. the song Comfortable Mystery. So if you want to go listen to more of Kevin MacLeod's music or use it in some of your own projects, head on over to incomtech.com to learn more, or search up Kevin MacLeod on Google. Finally, I'd like to thank the author of the story that we read today for that big chunk near the end. That would be Dexanote, who wrote the story Lessons Learned on the SCP Wiki. You can go figure out more on the scpwiki.com/lessons-learned. Thank you all once again for listening. We'll see you next time.